flag salute, please.
Ready? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, members of the commission, staff, ladies and gentlemen. The Planning Commission is now in session. Copies of the agenda for today's meeting are in the entryway on the table by the door. You can help us expedite tonight's hearing by following these rules and procedures. Everyone will be given an opportunity to be heard. When it is your turn to speak, come to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record. The applicant and those in favor of the application will speak first. Then those opposed to the application will be heard. After that, the applicant will be given time for rebuttal, and if necessary, those opposed will be given the opportunity to rebut. We ask that you limit your presentations to 5 minutes or less. This should be more than enough time for a well-organized presentation. The chair reserves the right to limit testimony and will exercise that right in the interest of others who have business before the commission. After all speakers have been heard, the hearing will be closed. At that point, additional comments from the public will not be allowed unless one of the commissioners asks that the hearing be reopened. Finally, the commissioners will discuss the application, make motions, and vote to reach a decision. If you are not satisfied with the commission's decision, you may be able to appeal the decision to the City Council. Appeals must be filed within a specified period of time after today's hearing, and you can check with staff for the procedures to follow in filing your appeal. Please make sure your mobile phones and pagers are on mute. Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Here.
Commissioner Singh?
Here.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Here.
Commissioner Garcia?
Here.
Vice Chairman Zerlin?
Here.
Chairman Niswander?
Here.
The record shows Commissioner Curry is absent.
Thank you. Any commissioner who before we go any further, I wish to introduce to you, commissioners, the audience, please stand up, our new city manager, Teresa. Stand up and say hi. Teresa Galvin came to us at about the middle of last month. And also our new planning technician, Aaron Carpenter. And while we're at it, congratulations, Councilman-elect Trujillo. Please note for the record that Commissioner Curry is now present. Any commissioner who has a potential conflict of interest may now identify the item and recuse themselves from discussing and voting on the matter. Oral communications, notices to the public. At this time, any member of the public may address the commission regarding any item over which the commission has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will be taken on any item not on the agenda. Issues raised will be referred to the chairperson for review. Members of the public shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Under public hearings, item number 1, conditional use permit number 2018-32, consideration of a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2018-32 for the establishment and operation of a recycling facility located at McCall Avenue, Selma, California, and notice of exemption regarding the same. Can we have some information from staff, please?
Chairman. The applicant is Sonny Salinas for Salinas Recycling at 14592 East Shaw Avenue in Sanger, California. The project location is located within the Selma Plaza commercial and retail complex and is situated on a vacant, unimproved lot in the southeast corner of the complex with access to and from Dinuba Avenue to the north and McCall Ave to the west. The shown aerial is the undeveloped lot, and the green roof is the current site location. And this will be the location to the north of the proposed site, which will be shown next, which is also attached to the staff report. To reorient you, north is now facing right. Oh, I'm sorry, north is still facing up. So this is the existing site and the proposed site to the north with the existing commercial building here. And this is the proposed new developed site.
Right there where it's marked vacant lot, right there. Is this where the recycling is gonna be?
Mr. Chairman, the recycling is currently in this site.
Right.
I believe the property owner asked for the applicant to shift the operations over so that the current existing parking lot could be used for the commercial services in this building to the west. The proposed, once again, proposed project, which we're hearing this evening, is located in this boundary.
No, this is mine.
So,
I'm sorry, I'm not,
okay, give me this.
No, this is something.
where's the access road?
Okay, the access road,
Turn on your mic.
Push the one in the middle.
the one in the middle? All right, very good. How come- Okay. Okay, you got an access road here and also back here. This is to the east of the two-story building that's
Right.
behind the old West America building. This is an existing parking lot that was established for the two-story building. Apparently, I just found out that they were here and they've moved it over a little bit more into the dirt and left this open for use for the building. Is that correct, Aaron?
From what we've observed, correct.
Okay.
Would you like to see the aerial again? Would that be helpful?
What I'm trying to look at here is you keep going to the north, but actually what we're looking at is where it says vacant lot, where that road curves around, that access road.
Yeah, but they're moving it up here. The empty lot, this is the perimeter of the empty lot, right there.
Okay,
Okay, so this existing is, I don't know why it's not, okay, there we go. Okay, so this is open,
all
and
right.
this is open,
Okay,
and this is open, and they've moved this to about right there,
okay,
all right? So now they want, today's proposal is to shift it up higher into that region.
The shown site plan with the improved parking lot is what we're
So we're
discussing this evening.
they're actually moving up closer to the dollar store, is that it?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
proposed. To continue, any further questions on the layout?
I don't
We'll
know.
have further discussion after the report.
Anybody else have questions? Okay.
The existing recycling facility is around 840 square feet and was conditionally approved on April 1, 2009, with a minor modification number 2008-0088. The applicant is requesting a new facility, 7,444 square feet recycling facility on the same site, shown at the new location. The applicant is proposing a relocation and expansion of the existing facility that will require review and approval by the city departments of planning, building, and safety department, engineering, fire, and police. Again, that will be a site plan review that will be held after this meeting. As requested by the Planning Commission at the August 27, 2018 public hearing, additional information has been provided by the applicant to address commissioners' questions regarding dust, odor, noise, and pest control. These items will also be conditionally approved through that site plan review process. This project meets the criteria for a Class 2 categorical exemption pursuant to CEQA Guidelines 15302. A Class 2 categorical exemption has been prepared for the project. The project was noticed October 24, 2018, through the Selma Enterprise paper and mailed to property owners within a 300-foot radius of the project. This concludes staff's report. Based on the findings of the attached resolution, staff recommends approval of conditional use permit 2018-32.
Aaron, there's 2 aerial shots. One is dated February 2018. The other one's dated November 2014. And then, of course, we did get
Commissioner, pardon me, do we want to open this up for discussion first, or, Mr. Chairman, do you want to?
I guess so.
What I would like to do is ask the commission, do you have questions of staff on their presentation? You were in line asking your question.
Yeah, okay. I believe that since the photos were taken as of February 2008 by Google, is the operation in that spot, or is it moved over to the east more on the open ground?
Based on staff's visual noticing, we've noticed that it has shifted over,
Okay.
but that hasn't been addressed by code enforcement.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions of staff?
So you state that the staff is recommending to approve this project, correct?
Correct.
Has staff taken into consideration the logistics of the area and the traffic and where they're gonna be coming in and out of? And where they're gonna be, what's the average amount of usage and what they've been doing? And in accordance with the actual amount of traffic I guess the shopping center has?
Thank you, Commissioner. The applicant has noted that there is an estimated 25 to 50 customers per day. That doesn't necessarily trip any requirements for a traffic impact study. That will be evaluated during the site plan review process.
At an earlier meeting, there was a proposed site plan that had a lot of the parking lot remaining dirt and not having a permanent asphalt or concrete cover for it. Is it gonna remain dirt, and will there be dust issues involved because of that?
Thank you, Commissioner. The applicant has proposed the asphalt in the shown location, again, based on our review during site plan review. We may require further pavement if we see that dust will be an issue. If dust is an issue, we may propose other options as to mitigate dust issues along with weed abatement. Those will all be addressed in that site plan review with conditions of approval.
Any other questions of staff? Aaron, are there currently any ordinances or any conditions? I've noticed that the other 2 recycling places around town are on blacktop.
Correct. That would be the requirement for them to upgrade this proposed project. I could correct me if I'm wrong when we get to the public statement, but I believe the applicant is asked to move in their current location, and they are asking to be on permanent asphalt as part of our current requirements. The original application that was approved in 2009 did not apparently have that requirement. So this is an opportunity for both applicant and city to make things right.
Okay, well, when we're done for you, with your, input, I'm gonna ask for the applicant to speak on their behalf, but, does anyone else have any questions?
I have one more. On the elevations, the proposed architect's elevations, it shows chain link fence. Is there any way that can be required to be used vinyl slatting to keep the recycling center up from being a visual or having more aesthetics?
That could be a condition.
Once again, thank you, Commissioner. That could very well be part of the conditions of approval as recommended by the Planning Commission.
I think one other question I have, and I'm not real sure, how to go about this other than just bring it up. Potable water for drinking and, restroom facilities. Is that part of the mix, or is, what do they do? Run to one of the retail outlets and use theirs, or?
Yes, thank you for that question. The applicant has provided an agreement with adjacent store owners for the use of restroom facilities. The landlord has, as you'll note in the provided lease agreement, access to potable water. If you would like to see that signed statement, we can provide that at a later time.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of staff? Thank you very much, Aaron. Can we hear from the applicant, please?
Good evening, John.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Santiago Salinas, Sonny Salinas. I'm the owner of Salinas Recycling. We live at 14592 East Shaw Avenue in Sanger, California. And we have one facility, recycling facility in Sanger since 2008, and two facilities in Selma since 2009. I don't know how much I can elaborate or explain how the California recycling process works. I'm not sure how much you folks are aware how the program works. I'll try to touch bases and be as quick as possible. Primarily, we started with working with the proposed relocation with Brian here in the middle of this year. Our owners are where we're at right now wanted us to relocate because they had a new client school board coming in, and they wanted specifically if they can use the side parking rather than the front parking. Based on our original approval, our facility as recycling center at this location was approved based on the number of parking stalls with respect to the size of the commercial building there, and it was determined that we would be okay percentage-wise to be able to locate there and serve this particular location. So we've been there since 2009. But and to comply with the owner's request, although we are initially complying with the city parking requirements for the recycling center at this location, we asked to relocate. Working with Brian, we thought everything was pretty cool. All we needed at that time was a MOD, I guess, a minor modification avenue approach, and apparently that new parking area or the new AC paving area kicked in a site plan review process, which is okay. Here's where we're at now. So if we go back to the original approval based on the square footage needed for the parking areas for us with the commercial building there, which should be okay. It's just the fact the parking area is new, so we're anyway. That's where we're here. But the recycling program itself is for this location in the city of Selma. The city of Selma is considered by the state a rural area. There's the CRV by the state has urban areas to serve and rural areas to serve. Urban areas have to be, in order to qualify for the retailer and the CRV, the recycler, has to be located in the parking area itself. The urban area, the rural area, which is Selma, has to be within half a mile of a qualified shopping center. Qualified shopping center, anybody that sells so much quantities of beverage containers, and we have to provide some type of service for the folks to be able to redeem those
Mr.
containers.
Salinas, I think what we want to hear from you is
Yes,
what's
sir.
on the agenda before us. It concerns a CUP for you expanding your footprint of an existing
Okay.
business.
Um,
And what we want to hear is how are you going to mitigate the concerns about dust, pest control, and
Well,
possibly the two-legged pest control from the homeless element.
the
So
dust.
that's the
i-
road we
i-
want to
is-
go down.
Okay. Then I'll go ahead and bypass all the CRV and the requirements and so forth. Yes, sir.
Could I ask you one question?
Yes, sir.
I was listening to what you were talking about, and you're talking about this existing recycling place on McCall and Dinuba
Yes.
that you started in 2009,
Yes.
and you talked to Bryant about relocating
Relocating from the parking lot
to what you want to do now.
to the new parking areas.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. And then you said it went to site plan review?
Well, we're now in the process of site plan review
Oh, okay. I
because
was
of the
trying to
new
get a
parking.
timeline. I heard you say '09, so I was trying to see the history.
No, back then, because of the square footage of the building with respect to the parking stalls, we qualified to fit in there and use the existing parking stalls.
And one more question. So your landlord that owns the property
Yes, sir.
was the one that requested you, when you signed this lease in
Yes.
2018 of August,
Yes.
to move off the asphalt.
Not off the asphalt. If we can relocate so that the new clients that he's been moved in would utilize our parking area that we're using now for their use.
Prior to the 18 lease, you were using the existing parking lot that was on the east side, according to these
Yes.
aerial photos, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, but he wanted you away from that parking area.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As far as dust concerned, AC paving. There's no way. Just like we're operating now, there's no access for anybody to be able to cut across through the dirt field or whether they're in a vehicle or walk through. Everything's going to be accessed by vehicle through the new AC parking area and then by foot to our intake area.
Well, we have some elevations here that show, it looks like an asphalt parking area. Is that what's gonna happen?
Yes, sir. The
So
new
you're gonna
one.
put some asphalt down trying to
Yes.
mitigate the dust, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's going to be AC paving.
Okay,
Correct.
and then are you, amenable or are you agreeable to possibly putting in what they call the chain link privacy fencing? In other words,
Yeah,
put the
yes, sir.
slats
Yeah,
in
yes, sir.
to kind of just
Oh,
keep it hidden?
You know, it's there's you want to look at that two different ways, and I'm sure the police department will agree with us. One way, if you really close it off, then you're inviting people to do things they're not supposed to because now you can't see them. So security with fence is great. Having it open is also good because you can visually see what's going on all the time. For aesthetic reasons, it's really not that bad if we leave it open. Right now, we're proposing some lattice and some trees and so forth for shading. But it's if the issue is slats, then that's not a project killer. No, we can.
So
we-
you're
we-
saying you don't want to do the slats?
No, we can go through the slats. We have no problems with the slats.
But you're concerned about security having
We're
a
concerned
fence
about
that you can't
security,
see
and
through.
because it's just, you're inviting things that are hidden. Things to happen that are hidden.
I have a question regarding that then.
Yes, sir.
This is quite a bit larger, so is there gonna be any security lighting or lighting around on your proposed project? There's gonna be electricity or no?
No, we're fully functional with solar panels. All we do is have a scale, electrical scale, small scale that we use for electrical panel, plus a cash register that we use to compute and give out receipts to our clients. So as far as electrical, that's all we need. We're there. We start the day at 9, and we're close 5.
Mr. Chairman, just as you, so you know, the police department will have their comments and conditions as well.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this application? Does anyone wish to speak against this application? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is George Kastler. I live next to the mobile home park, 1601 Dainuba, unit number 6. I also own the Selma Plaza, the whole shopping center. I just bought the bank because the bank was for sale. All my families, I'm serious with Selma. I like this town. That's why I move all my savings here. That's gonna be future for my family. This gentleman said that this is not that bad there. If they open from 9 to 5, no problem. They close the gate, right? They go. What's gonna happen? What is happening after that? It's a nice night of the living dead. I'm repeating. It's a night of the living dead. What this creating? All the homeless. They going through all the trash cans. Not only mine, apartments, the lady also. And they're walking through ours parking lot, and wait and sleeping all over, waiting for when they get open. As soon as when they get open, for the money, they get the bolt of whatever. Sorry. Immediately they go to the center, sell it, and go to the liquor store and buy alcohol. And again, there we go, they're sleeping there. Now, can you pull the map, the first? See the map, the road, this is my road. They have an easement. I don't know if they can abuse. This is not like a public road. I pay taxes from the, you had a second there. No, the one before, the map. No, the drawing, the architectural drawing. Thank you. See, I pay, this is a little bit, okay. You see, I pay, this is my road from Dinuba all the way to McCall. For example, how is right now? If they don't take any bottle, whatever they throwing away, any oil they throwing away. I want you to see how the lot looks right now, the empty lot. It's ready to be contaminated, be dirty. Anything they don't take it, they throwing on this side. Who's cleaning? We do. Restroom, you know what they do? They pee we have a big property. They pee all over in the back. There's a police record. We can ask what they doing. The people, the homeless, they sleeping by the trash cans, all over. It's almost impossible to stop them. If I wouldn't have that's the only thing which brings the homeless there. I don't mind them have a business, right? But if this business like there's a recycle center behind McDonald's, it's enclosed, everything. It smells, Sometimes I remember when we have a party next morning, the beer stinks. And I can even smell from the trailer park, from the mobile home park, the smell when the wind is. We have a flies. We have a flies, If they talking business, yes. I'm just building right now 5,000 square feet storage for the market, right? There you go, look. It's enclosed, everything. That's different. We cannot do anything like a military quick stuff, boom, 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 done. No, there's no chain link fence. If they want to do it right. But I don't see their way to do it right. All the homeless, they're walking all over. Through my parking lot, they going to sell this, and it's a night special. They going 5 o'clock. They're going home. Praise the Lord, or we make money, right? Who worry about the day after 5? We do. We call the police all the time. Now the gentleman said, "Okay, we'll fix the restroom." Which restroom? Excuse me, which restroom they're using? Mine behind the trash can? Right now I'm putting cameras for $20,000 equipment, plus, I don't know what the installer gonna say. I gotta do something with it, This is my investment, and you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the north window of Selma. How it's gonna look. If you wanna continue, make this dirty, yes, there is enough space all over in Selma. I saw, I developed. They can put the people which have a car, they'll drive. They don't care a mile or two. Only thing what is it is the night of the living dead. That's what they come.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're running out of time here. Thank you for your concern, and
I'm sorry,
I would make a suggestion. Our
Yes.
city manager is here this evening, and maybe you could make an appointment and meet with her and voice your concerns, and maybe somehow, some way, City Hall can come up with a workable plan for everybody concerned. Would you be agreeable to that?
More. Sure. Other thing, there's no vacant lot here. There's a second vacant lot there. Excuse me. What is this here?
That is, if I may,
Yeah,
is that here?
Yes.
this is the one big lot. It's not the two lots. It's a one big lot. And you know what? This is good, like in case of, Iraq or whatever, temporary stuff. But for heaven's sake, this is 21st century, You know, I mean,
Well,
I'm sorry,
another,
you know.
another alternative would be to purchase that lot and then it's yours and.
I'm waiting for it. I mean, you know, if I only have a chance, you know, people, like I said, I love this town. You know, they made me mad at the hotel what time I have empty room, right?
Well, we
So
appreciate.
I bought a storage, you know.
We
I-
appreciate your efforts and we appreciate your input, and hopefully we can come to a satisfactory conclusion for
Thank
everyone
you.
concerned.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak in opposition? Please step forward and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Don Krauskop, and I live at 1333 Chestnut Street here in Selma. I'm not exactly sure where the location of this is going to be, but I'm an owner of the mobile home park. So I'm basically here representing the residents of the park because they back right up on to the street there, and then the business is going to be located, I assume, in that open area where it has been previously. It creates odor, noise, and it's going to get even bigger for every truck or whatever that hauls in debris. And it's just not the location for that type of business. On this side are apartments and a home, and we have 214 homes in our RV area, and it's just to us is not the type of business to go in that location. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? Please step forward. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Betty Martinez. I live at 3670 McCall Avenue, Greenwood Apartments. I'm the property manager there. And what I wanted to bring up was that we bought the property 3 years ago, and we've had, well, it looks better than it's ever looked, because when we first bought the property, there was couches, there was grills, there was people, I mean, just all hanging around there. So when we moved in, I did come to the city, and they did, you know, kind of help me with some things, but it was still a big problem. So I even went to the fire department, and I said, this is a fire hazard. And since I went to the fire department, then I started getting things done. So they started kind of clearing up the place, but we still have a lot of issues with the homeless people, because they're everywhere, like he said. They go inside where my dumpsters are at night and during the day, and they poop back there, they pee back there, they throw their trash everywhere. And there's no lighting in the back. It's plain black. I've had to lock my back gate because people were coming in and out in the middle of the night because of it being so dark, they were going back there to do their partying. And so I would call the police department, and a lot of times, because I have cameras that show all back there now, because we were always afraid that somebody was going to come in and do some stuff. They would do their crime, and then they would take off through those back gates. Well, we started having to lock them up, and now my residents aren't even feeling comfortable going back there to walk to the stores because of all the homeless people that are there. And a lot of them have been, you know, they beg them for money, and there's a lot of the people that their purses have been stolen as they go to try to shop. I mean, this is a residential area. We're trying to rent apartments. We have kids. We're afraid. We don't know if these people are child molesters that are coming through our gates. You know, it's just a big, big problem. And we even cut all those trees on the side, in the back of that fence back there, so that we wouldn't have people sleeping in between those bushes and trees and trash. And then when these guys now, they're sweeping all that stuff now that they're in the dirt, what they're doing is they're blowing that dust and dirt towards our apartments. And all the trash, if you go over there, you'll see along the fence, there's nothing but trash. And I have to pay somebody to come and pick up all that trash because I'm trying to rent an apartment. I'm trying to clean up my place so that I'm able to rent my apartments because nobody's going to want to live in a place where there's a whole bunch of trash. The other day, there was a bunch of couches, beds, and all when I talked to the owner, he just says, it's your apartments. And I said, no, it's not. But we've been paying to have somebody come and haul that stuff out because we want to keep our apartments looking nice.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
What fence are you talking about where the debris is being located?
All around that hole where that whole driveway is, and it goes, we even had to build a new fence because we had people just all along.
Oh, you're talking about the fence that's adjacent to your apartments?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
I've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
to
yeah,
lock
yeah.
that, and my people used to be able to go to the store through there, but they can't.
And the trash is generated,
All through there, because what they do is when they clean up their stuff at night, they just use a blower. And they're blowing all the dirt and all the paper and all the trash and all their baskets that people leave, they leave them there. And they expect us to clean it up. And you know, I do it because I'm trying to rent my apartments and I want them to look nice. And we've been working really hard to try to clean up this place because it was a mess when we first moved in. So that's my main concern is I'm worried about my kids. I have a lot of kids that live there, and I don't want a whole bunch of people just walking in and out of our apartments, you know, because we don't know if they're sex molesters or what. And there's times that on the weekends, when these guys leave, like they said, once they leave 5 o'clock, it's plainly dark. All those guys decide to come out, that they are like the living dead. They come out and they do their party and they fight all night. I call the cops. Cops just go around the circle. They don't do anything. They don't stop. And I call him again, and I said, why didn't you stop? Well, he passed by. He didn't see anybody. And you could hear them sitting there beating the crap out of each other. And it's like, that's not good for our, you know. And I've asked the city or whoever owns that property back there that I need a light back there because, you know, it's so dark. That's why people hang out there at night. And like you said, if he doesn't put up his fence, he's leaving it open. I mean, how good is that? He's not, if, you know, if he's worried about somebody breaking in, well, they do at night. I sit there and I watch them in the cameras. I got a camera that looks beyond all that because I was afraid at night with, you know, I don't have a husband. I'm the manager there, and I have to kind of make sure that everything's running smooth. I used to go out there and lock the gates, and it's kind of scary.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else wish to speak in opposition of this application?
Good evening. My name is Liliana Lisotti. My address is at 14592 East Shah Avenue in Sanger.
Are you speaking in opposition of this application?
No.
That's who I asked for.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd like to have a meeting, just 30 seconds.
Make it quick.
If this gentleman said that they don't need a light, I don't have any question. How somebody can run a business like that? There's a problem with homeless, everything. We don't need a light because we're living 5. That's it. Let George worry about the rest. And her, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in opposition? Would the applicant like to rebut?
Yes, thank you. Well, that was loaded. With respect to the alley access, when that shopping center was built a long time ago, before this gentleman bought it, the alley and access and the design of the parking was all based with a conditional use permit. So the design that you see right there, the design that we have now, is based on the conditional use permit with the understanding that that is still a public right-of-way. That is still part of the alley access. That is not private property. that is public access. Okay? I just want to make that clear. With respect to the furniture and appliances and things like that, they're left there, which you got to put two and two together. Gentlemen, this is an apartment, people moving in and out. What are they going to do with their stuff? Okay? Obviously, they're going to throw it in the trash. Or the trash bins are forever loaded with stuff from the apartments. Are we going to blame the recycling? We are here to serve. We've been here for 10 years, and the folks in the mobile home finally realized that we're doing something. For 10 years we've been there, and there's been no issue with these folks. There's been no issue with dust. There's been no issue with flies. We clean up on a daily basis. We generate 2 or 3 30-gallon containers of trash. We dispose them. We take them out of sight. We right now we use a blower to keep things as dust free as possible until we get to the new location with the permanent AC paving area. Right now we shifted a little bit in order to accommodate the owner that asked us, because the clients already moved in from the school board and school's already started and so forth. So we're trying to accommodate everybody. The sooner we can get to our new place, the sooner we can go back to business, and nobody's going to realize, well, these guys have been there for 10 years as a servant.
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I do have an issue or something that I don't understand quite.
Sure.
How can a business run without power, without running water, without a restroom?
Oh no, we have
and keep
we have
place
we have
clean?
we have running water.
You're running a recycling plant,
Yes.
so there's going to be containers, cans that have liquid other than water in them. So
Yes.
soda, beer.
We have containers.
If you don't even have water to rinse or
no,
to
we have water.
wash that blacktop,
Yes.
I'm not exactly sure how things get cleaned up.
We have
Sorry,
water.
let me just finish and I'll let
Sure.
you answer me. I also do have an issue with you having to go use other people's facility for a restroom. I don't think this is a proper way of running a business, in my opinion. I'm a real estate broker and a business owner in this
Right.
town. I don't think this is proper. So I believe addressing this issue should start there. You should have power at your facility. You should have water. You should have your own restroom. You should be able to have security cameras for people who are going to break in after hours and watch all of that. I mean, for you as a business owner, beside for the people who are living around you, this is a residential area. I understand there's a shopping center there, but it's a high concentration of residential buildings there. So people should not have to suffer the consequences of a recycling plant in the wrong location.
Right.
There are other
I'm not sure what
locations
they're
in Selma.
suffering, but it's a non-exiting, non-occupant load facility. All it is just an intake facility that we intake and then we deliver to a processing plant where they recycle. That's why as far as power is concerned, it's just cash register and a small scale to weigh the material. That's all the power that we need. That's all the power is generated through a small 2x4 solar panel. We have water that's coming in that we clean the parking areas, the work areas on a daily basis. We being a non-occupant, non-exiting facility, we don't. It's not like a restaurant or any place where you need to provide public restrooms. The restrooms are for employees only. We have one employee, and then on weekends we have 2 employees. During the breaks, we have accommodations with clients there where they do have access to a restroom. I'm not sure as far as suffering comes in. I'm not quite sure of the question on
No,
that.
but
We're
sir-
a service for the community. We're not there to make nobody suffer. We're there for their service.
I understand. So you can service this serve this community
Yes.
from a location probably more appropriate, or this is a business that does attract homeless. So, and not all of them are nice to
Homeless
others.
are going to be there whether we're there or not. The best way to combat homeless, and it's not just city, it's everywhere. It's every city. You know, if we really want to combat the homeless, we should start with liquor stores. Stop selling these people liquor.
No, I understand, but I'm saying
You know what I'm
leave
saying?
at 5.
The
and they
state
come after
tells
5.
us, we're licensed, the state tells us you have to service everybody regardless, period. Here's your license. Somebody comes to you with 1 container or 100 pounds of containers, you must serve them.
I understand. I just have an issue
Yes.
that you do not have any security measures for
We-
after hours, like not even a light.
We have cameras. As far as lighting is concerned, solar. We can put solar lighting.
Excuse me, Commissioner Trujillo, you had a question?
Mr. Santiago.
Yes, sir.
You know, I applaud you for coming over here since, you know, you've been in business.
Thank you. Thank you.
The logistics and things, there's some concerns. The question I have for you is the landlord,
Sure.
Ron Shellen, where is he at?
Where's he at today?
Mhm.
Or right now?
Mhm.
Where does he live at, babe?
He's in Santa Rosa.
He lives in
He's
Santa Rosa. Yes.
So because of the fact that he got a new tenant, he approached you and said, "Hey, is it okay for you?"
If
to,
we could, right? And as it turns out, sir, as it
if you
turns out,
could, or you need to.
if we could, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And as it turns out, it's a school board that
Yeah.
various
And-
clients. Well, no, if I can finish, please. Everybody, you know, likes to park in a secure area or a more secure area than a hidden area.
You know what? I hear you. I hear you.
We're-
I understand. I understand where you're going with this.
But it's this right now. Nobody's. We're accommodating him, but the folks are still parking out front, and so that area back there is kind of vacant still.
The question I have for you is,
Yes.
it's just, you know, you have a service there's needed here in Selma. The logistics may be a little off. The only question I have for you is, when he approached you and asked you if you could move, did you ask and let him know that there was going to be, or did the city at any time express to you that there were some concerns and some issues in regards to
We started working with Brian a long time ago. We submitted.
When did you start working with Brian?
We started working with Brian on the 16th of June, and we submitted about 7 different schemes at that point.
Okay.
We said, hey,
So-
here's
okay.
this one.
Okay.
What do you think, Brian?
So you did 7 schemes?
Oh yeah, we got paperwork, we got trails. We got
Okay, so just so you know that there are a lot of concerns, but at the same time, we as a city, we understand that there is a need
Right.
for some recycle centers.
But
But the logistics may be off. Maybe at the time in 2012 it was great,
Right.
but because now that it's been brought to us, there are some concerns. So the only concern and question I have
These
is
concerns are
what-
so minor. If you knew the whole story, how
But
it
the
worked.
question is, where is Mr. Sheldon at?
In Santa
Because
Rosa. In Santa
in
Rosa.
Santa Rosa. We are
Right.
in Selma.
Right.
Our community has concerns
Well,
also.
you-
And I'm not trying to,
We did invite him. We could
okay,
invite him.
and you started this process in June, correct?
With
the
Brian,
city,
yes.
with
And
Brian.
back then it was supposed to be a MOD only. And Brian said, well, no problem, which is
And
take care with the MOD.
when did Brian talk to you? How many times did he talk to you during that process?
He talked to us 2-3 times until we were ready to move, and that's when apparently he retired, and we had Nijat Richard. I can't think of his last name right now. Came in, and
Okay.
so there's been some
I-
delays and changes and
I got you.
that type of thing.
Okay, that answers my questions. Thank you.
If I may, Commissioners.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Serena?
I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
regarding recycling, because I don't have a background in
Sure,
it.
sure. Well, that's what I'd love to explain a little bit
Yeah,
about
so
it.
my question to you is this a permitted, I know you're coming here for CUP because you're doing the expansion.
Right.
But in the recycling business,
Yes.
are there permits, like, do you have to annually renew a permit? Is it biannually?
You have to be licensed by the state.
Okay, licensed by the
First of all.
state. And what is the duration of that license?
You get, what is it? ¿Cuántos años se tiene que ganar la licencia? 5 years.
Every 2 years, so biannually, okay. All right, and so is there anything that you're required to, that's for the state of California to operate. Now, what about with the city of Selma? Are there any bylaws or anything
No,
that you need?
but Selma is in the state of California. CRV is California Refund Valley. So it's all California. Got nothing to do with Nevada. Nothing to do with
No. I get it. I get we're in California, not Nevada.
Right.
Or we'd be gambling.
So all we gotta do is comply with zoning, the
Yeah,
park
no, my
requirements and
point,
things
my
of that
question
nature.
is I'm just trying to grasp with recycling, because there's a lot of them around.
Right.
Most of them I see, they're on asphalt. So I
Yeah,
was
no,
curious- I was
cities
just curious
and
if there's-
counties don't have anything to do with it. It's all state run.
Okay, so in other words, you didn't have to come to the city of Selma and get a business license?
Well,
or-
business license, yes, sir. Everybody,
Okay,
business
all right.
license, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
Any,
sir.
any other articles that
Well,
you?
just so you'll know how it works, and real quick, you get the product that somebody makes in Kansas or whatever. They want to sell in California. They charge the distributor the money to be able to deal with California. The distributor is going to charge supermarket that money. The supermarket is going to charge the clients, the consumer, that money. And the state says now we must have recycling centers to allow the consumer to be able to redeem that money.
That part I get, okay, I got it. My kids, that's their fun money.
Right,
I understand, I
right.
understand that part
And
of
I
it.
started talking about rural and urban and so forth, and so we're.
Aaron, do you have a comment?
Yes, sir.
If I may, Commissioners, with recommendation with the city manager, we put it to you. Maybe we have our site plan review first before we make a final decision on this conditional use permit, so that once again we have all of the conditions up front as opposed to after the action here.
If you'll check
That typically would have happened first, based on the relationship that had been initiated by the former city planner. It was a direction that he sought to not have a site plan review initially.
If you'll check your records from our last meeting when this was aired, we asked for that, a consensus of the council. We had a majority. We had a consensus, and we asked for the site plan review to be presented to us so we could further explore this. I'm very distressed about this whole project simply based on the number of complaints from surrounding residents, not businesses necessarily, but residents. It's bad enough when you buy a property and come up with everything that's entailed with it, but then to have a business that is detrimental to the property value, I'm having a real hard time sitting here being quiet. So, yes, speaking as the chair, I would like to see the results of a site plan review before we make a decision on this application as a commission. If I can have a consensus from everyone else,
I agree.
Yes.
it appears we have a unanimous request.
Mr. Chairman, we understand your direction and the direction of the commission. Is it then, Mr. Chairman, your desire to want to continue this public hearing to another date certain?
At this point in time, I would like to continue it to our next scheduled meeting.
Our next scheduled meeting would be,
January.
yeah, I don't think we're going to have anything in November again. I don't know if anybody wants to show up on December 24th. I would be available, Mr. Chairman. I don't know about anyone else.
I would too.
Oh, you'll too? Okay, yeah.
Well, then the last January and
It would be,
28th, I think.
it would be January 28th, yes. So are you good with,
And this isn't to keep stalling the project, it's to make a decision based on what I consider to be a lack of facts at this point in time.
Aaron, I have a question on the site review, because I'm not really comfortable with the knowledge of it. Is at that time, do they explore the elevations and slants and drainage and all that? Is that part of that?
That would be part of that review. And to be clear, there has been a project review committee initial review of this project that has been routed, and we've received comments that are included in the resolution from fire, from.
Was anything mentioned, you remember, mentioned about the sloping of drainage to the back driveway and the fact that there's a low spot where they exist now on the existing lot? As far as for drainage.
Again, based on the nature of the project review committee, we don't go into that level of detail.
Okay.
So engineering will have those comments
All right.
at the site plan review level.
All right, very good.
Teresa, did you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to confirm that as we move forward to the review and coming up with the conditions, what I've heard here this evening is that you would like to have conditions that address dust, pests, fencing, security, darkness, or needing light, cleaning, restrooms, smell, and slope. Was there anything else that we wanted to, I think, was that comprehensive of the concerns?
Yeah.
That pretty much covers it.
Thank you.
I have one that, maybe you need to speak to Mr. Santiago. I mean, we've kind of kicked them around a little bit, and I feel that some of the fault is on our staffing and how things have been generated down the couple of months. Him starting a process with the city in June and it coming over here and where it was at, maybe we should have had a little more of a conversation with him. So if we can get that, I would really appreciate that. Okay?
Yeah, I just like to add also, we deal with redemption. We redeem people. If we don't provide the service to these folks around here, these clients, 25, 50 per day, we redeem in this site pretty close to $700,000 a year. That money will go elsewhere if they have to look for other places to redeem. That's going to go away from the shopping center. It's going to go away from the city. It's not part of the program. We gentlemen, we need to get with the program. These issues are so minor. We're dealing with the dust. We're dealing with the pest. We're dealing with AC paving. We're dealing with the water. We're dealing with the restroom issues. We could deal with security cameras. And now you want us to wait 3 more months? We wanted to get this started before the rainy season started.
Right now, at this point in time, we're gonna, can I get a motion? We've had a consensus. Can I have a motion to continue this to the January meeting based on lack of information?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. This will be continued to our January meeting. Item number 2 on the agenda, Municipal Code Amendment number 2018-01. Consideration of a resolution recommending that the City Council adopt an ordinance adopting Chapter 35 to Title 11 of the Selma Municipal Code, accessory dwelling units in residential zones, and amending Chapter 11-1-1 zoning definitions, purpose of Title 11 zoning of the SMC to add definitions related to accessory dwelling units and a notice of exemption regarding the same.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Currently, background for this proposed amendment to the city's municipal code. The City of Selma Municipal Code currently does not have any standards for accessory dwelling units in Title 11 for zoning. On September 27, 2016, Governor Brown signed AB 2299 and SB 1069 regarding ADUs. These bills amended sections of the state law regarding ADUs. The new laws require that local jurisdictions allow ADUs by right under certain mandatory development standards and require that local jurisdictions, if seeking to establish additional regulations, do so via an ordinance facilitating the ministerial creations of ADUs. The proposed ordinance brings the city into compliance with Government Code Section 65852.2 and establishes standards pursuant to the various restrictions as set forth in the state law. Some discussion. Since the passage of AB 2299 and SB 1069, the city has received occasional inquiries about ADU additions, including garage conversions. In an effort to better assist the residents of the city, staff has prepared the attached ordinance to Selma Municipal Code Title 11 by adding Chapter 35 and setting forth various standards for ADUs that are compliant with the ADU requirements under AB 2299 and SB 1069. The potential effect that added dwelling with no on-site garage parking may have on street parking in the city is a major concern. In an effort to be sensitive to street parking needs in the city while complying with the state laws for ADUs, the proposed ordinance now allows for tandem parking on site and within driveways. If parking is provided as such, it must be designed on the site plan submitted to the city, and new concrete must be provided. These standards will help to ensure the adequate on-site parking is maintained. The proposed ordinance still does not allow ADUs on a second story or above a garage in an effort to protect the privacy of the neighbors. The ordinance also limits newly constructed ADUs to 1,200 square feet in size. These added clarifications, staff will be better able to assist the residents with their inquiries. The environmental assessment, this proposed ordinance is exempt from CEQA. And the fiscal impact, there is none. In conclusion, the proposed ordinance provides clear standards for ADUs that are compliant with state law. As such, staff will be better able to assist residents with inquiries about ADUs within single-family dwelling zones. These rules provide minimum requirements and the maximum potential limits for ADUs that are designed to protect the public health, safety, comfort, and general welfare of the city and its residents. It is recommended that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution recommending that the City Council adopt the ordinance adding Chapter 35 accessory dwelling units of Title 11 of the Selma Municipal Code and adding definitions related to ADUs in Chapter 11-1-1 of Title 11 of the Selma Municipal Code to address changes in state law and notice of exemption regarding same. This
Any
ends staff
questions of
report.
staff? When this was first presented to the commission, it was more along the lines of those cargo containers being converted to a dwelling unit. And I've noticed since you came on board, there's not too much in the paperwork here that relates to those units. However, it was originally explained to us that there was at least one application, if not more than one, for one of those metal containers to be used as an auxiliary dwelling unit. And we had some concerns because this is a new entity coming to town here, and people are gonna wanna do it. I know it's inevitable, but some of our residential areas don't have an alley in the back of the property. And I can just see somebody coming and knocking on my door saying, oh, we're gonna put a thing in the neighbor's backyard, can we swing it over your house? No. So can we put conditions to what is mandated here, that, yes, you can do the ADUs, but they have to be, individually inspected, and you know, if you're gonna have to lift it over somebody's house, then maybe you ought to take it into the backyard in little pieces that you can carry through the side gate.
As a point of clarification, an ADU doesn't necessarily have to be a prefabricated structure, but and the city
understand
municipal code does have sections on.
In fact, there's a thing going on at Fresno Fairgrounds. If it hasn't happened, it's gonna real soon. Mini houses.
Right, tiny homes.
So, I'm thinking, economically, people are gonna gravitate to do these types of things, and most of those are already pre-made. Maybe they come in a maybe Ups delivers them in a kit form. I don't know, but I guess we only get one shot at trying to do this right.
Sure.
So I guess that's why we're being a little nervous and a little picky about this, is each application you get, will that site be inspected individually, and based on what you notice or what's observed will determine what type of structure can go in the back? There's also some legalese in there about it has to be coordinated with the existing structure, or has to be
Architecturally, yeah.
So is that gonna be a stumbling block trying to enforce that?
Those concerns are, if I may, they are already a part of our general plan and our zoning ordinance in terms of additions to single family or multiple family dwelling units. So we would still be making those determinations based on our existing code, again, which would then cover those issues that you have brought up in terms of architectural issues and how to move a prefab home. We have those ordinances in place already.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, if you turn to page 27 in your packet, you'll see section E, which talks about requirements applicable to newly constructed or expanding structures. And one are the development standards with regard to those that are, as was mentioned, those that are currently set forth in the zoning code. There are standards on section 5, which talks about roof pitch and roofing materials. There has to be compatibility between the ADU and the existing structure. And then what you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, section 8, which talks about architectural design, form, and materials. So a cargo container, if you've got a clapboard house or a stucco home, a cargo container would not be compliant in terms of architectural design with the stucco home or the clapboard home or a home with other kind of siding, brick, or whatever it may be.
Okay, good, because
So,
that was
One question
yes.
with that. If they did do the metal container and they went with a facade that matched the house, is that gonna qualify?
Arguably, they would be compliant with the architectural design. The issue we have right now is the state pushed down to all the local communities throughout California the requirement to offer these ADUs with minimal standards that you can impose. You essentially have to ministerially approve them. Without adoption of this ordinance, right now it's raining outside and we don't have a raincoat or an umbrella. This provides the city at least an umbrella and a raincoat. We may still get a little wet, but we're not going to get soaked.
In your opinion, does this meet the letter of the laws that were signed by the governor?
Yes. Yes.
And My concern is parking, honestly. So if somebody
Yeah.
converted their garage, so now the original owners of the house, which is usually a minimum of 2 cars, have these 2 in the driveway. Say that they added a mother-in-law setup in the back, and whoever is living in the garage is an adult parent or an adult kid that has also a car. Do that time 10 houses on the same street. Can you imagine how we're gonna park?
One of the things that we do with regard to it is it talks about, if you look at section 9, talks about parking, and it says, in addition to the parking spaces required for the primary residence, at least one off-street parking space shall be provided for each accessory dwelling unit, which may be provided as tandem parking in an existing driveway. So what will have to happen, and as I understand it, there are homes here in the city where the garage is on the back side of an alley and there is no driveway. So what's going to wind up having to happen here is those owners are going to have to construct a driveway, because you can't just park on your front lawn or the front landscaping. You've got to have a driveway of some material, typically concrete, and they're going to have to redesign that. And you're also likely going to have curbs that are going to require curb cuts, and they're going to require the driveway. So now they're going to have to not only get the permits to be able to construct the ADU, but they're going to have to get permits to be able to put in a driveway.
Well, and even when there is a driveway right now, pretty much every builder is trying to maximize, the use of their land. So we're building right at the 20-foot setback. That does not allow for 2 cars or 2 trucks to park in a driveway, back to back, like tandem parking. So that's.
So what winds up happening is, as many believe the policy behind the idea of ADUs, it's a good policy to provide for housing. But the challenge you have is many of our communities are old, our homes are old, and the provision of parking for 2-3 vehicles wasn't done back in the 1950s. It used to be, you had 1 vehicle per family.
Yeah.
And so that presents a challenge for many of the older homes. It presents a challenge for newer homes when you've got developers who maximize. The other thing to keep in mind is that the homes here, if you look back up on section E1, it talks about maximum gross floor area. And it says that no ADU, either attached or detached, shall exceed 50% of the size of the living area up to 1,200 square feet. So the only 1,200 square foot ADU, the home has to be a minimum of 2,400 square feet.
Right.
That's gonna be on a bigger lot.
About 6,000.
But
Comfortably
the
in the
challenge you're going to
subdivision
have
we're
is
building.
how many homes in Selma are going to be able to accommodate 50% of the primary residence on the property as it currently exists. There are some older homes, big lot, small homes, big lots, but the configuration, the need to put in driveways, provide for the parking, it's a challenge.
I don't think they
People
thought
can
about
overcome
all
it,
of
but
that
it
when
is a
they
challenge.
Passed it.
Well,
Pardon me?
I don't think they thought about all of that when they passed it. On a 6,000 square foot lot in the new subdivision that I'm selling on Highland and Saginaw, we are building a 2-story, 2,778 square feet. So now that qualifies, 50% of that is quite large, and try to stick it in the backyard or in their garage. So
Pretty
now you
difficult.
already have a big family living in a 2,800 square foot home with so many cars, and maybe converting their 2-car garage on top of that, that's going to be a nightmare.
They still have to meet all the setback requirements, so
Indeed.
if it doesn't work, it doesn't
Right.
work for them, they can't do it.
Yeah.
That stops them right there in their tracks.
Right.
They
There-
don't have the room.
There
But
are
the garage is
properties in
there. They're
California.
still gonna be able
There
to
just may
convert
not
it.
be enough
Issue, yeah.
properties here in the city of Selma. But as I said, right now, I wouldn't say it's raining, it's sprinkling. But we neither have an umbrella nor a raincoat, and
Right.
this offers that
Right.
to you.
There aren't those big lots that could necessitate or allow that to happen here. That's, you know, that's more county lots, you know, and stuff out.
Well, there again, if, excuse me, if it's in the county, then
It's not
city's
ours.
city's not
Yeah.
involved.
I mean,
But the thing is, you can only develop a certain percentage of any given lot. And once you reach that maximum square footage, I don't care if it's the Pope's grandma, you're not gonna put that little ADU back
There
there.
are some things on our side from keeping them going in.
Yeah.
But that's just footprint. You can build up.
it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
You get a two-story house, it
the
has a
house they
smaller
wanna do at
footprint.
Country Club with
And
the
the garage is
additions
still
and
needed.
whatever. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's a big lot, but per square footage, there was only room for so much. But anyway.
If I'm a
So,
developer, I'm
I
offering
did have a
ADUs
question
as an
for,
option.
you have a question for Aaron?
yes.
Mhm.
As far as permanence of these buildings, I know in here someplace it said they're only gonna be on slab, they're only required to be on slabs. Is the building and the engineering department gonna address those, the structure of the building itself to see whether it does need foundation when that comes up as far as the design of the building? Cause I know if they can put a Connex box on a slab, that's not very safe. I mean, and turn it into an apartment or a studio. Are we gonna address that to make it more permanent instead of just sitting on a slab someplace?
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, that would be part of the building and
Engineering will
planning.
get into that and safety and everybody else because
Exactly.
it
yes.
will move regardless of how heavy that is. It will move on a slab
Correct. All building code will have to be followed.
with no foundation, just a flat slab. Is that's what the state is requiring right now, right?
Correct. The City of Selma uses the State of California building code, and that's what they would be using, even in regards to ADUs.
Okay.
Is that the June meeting that we were brought forth the person inquiring about that?
Yeah.
And was it, she was wanting to use the?
I don't know, she didn't
container?
come forward.
Oh, okay.
From what Brian presented at the time, it was those metal
Metal container,
pods.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Because he had photos of those.
That's what I recall. I was just, so in other words, as long as she matches her facade on the house
Aesthetically.
and she's
Right.
got enough room in the backyard per square footage, then pretty much she's able to do that.
Because my understanding, it was one of those nice homes on Nelson, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 4 houses down from me.
Welcome to my neighborhood. Teresa, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, as long as they meet the building code, so I mean,
Exactly,
it does
exactly.
have to be up to standards.
We're not going to have a grandma living in a metal box in the backyard.
Any other questions of staff? Okay, we're gonna close the public portion and bring it back to the commission for discussion and a motion. I'm, after having this added input and reading this later information, I'm relatively comfortable forwarding this on to the council. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but
Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
I
Well,
think so
I mean,
too.
we can't stop it.
Yeah, we're not gonna stop it. State
No,
mandating
we
something,
can't stop it.
but we can make it,
Well,
we
there
can
are,
make it
there
our
are
requirements.
boundaries that will stop
yes.
Yeah.
craziness. That's,
Excessiveness,
that's
yeah.
the main significance here is there's control. That would be the word I would use.
Yeah,
So,
I'm quite a bit less apprehensive after we went through those other cities'
Right.
ordinances and picked and chose what we
Mhm.
thought would work with our city. And, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Well, I'll entertain a motion.
Why is everybody looking at me?
Yeah, because when you come in late, you're the
Oh,
one that
that's what
has.
happens, yeah.
Punishment, there you go.
Give you the respect.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we adopt, ordinance number.
Resolution.
Oh, sorry, I've got the wrong. Okay, I move that we adopt the resolution of the planning commission. This is, adopting chapter 35 to, the title 11 of the Selma Municipal Code.
And I'll second.
And also the notice of exemption regarding, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No, thank you.
I have a motion and a second. Can we do a roll call vote, please?
I'm sorry, I just walked in, I apologize. That motion was by, Vice Chairman Serenian, and the second was by,
Commissioner Curry.
forgive me. So that motion is,
We have a second, and could we do,
Vice Chairman Serenian,
Yes.
Commissioner Curry,
Yes.
did you need to?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Singh,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Chairman
Yes.
Alexander. Motion passes.
thank you very much. Now, anything from the director, or would the city manager like to impart some words of wisdom on this commission?
So much for your service, and I'm very glad to be able to be here this evening and meet you. It's been a busy 3 weeks, but everybody has been very welcoming and helpful. And I also want to thank Aaron. We're both stepping into an area that we know we need to bolster support for the work that's being done here, and development is very important to our council and our community. I look forward to working with Aaron and all of you so that we can get this moving in an effective manner. The changes have had an impact on everybody, the constant changing, and one thing that council has made very clear is they want to have that stability. So we look forward on bringing that by working together.
Thank you very
again
much.
for your service.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Can I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Meeting is adjourned.